So, Mr. Kibler, what, in your opinion, is the role of nutrition in terms of performance, profitability, and reproduction for dairy cows?
Affects all these factors of performance, profitability, and reproduction more than any other factor of dairy production. More than half the cost of the total cost is feeding. So it's a very important part of the overall profitability. And the performance of the dairy cows, which determines the milk production, which in turn determines the income level, is influenced more by feeding than any other aspect of dairy production. Again, reproduction, which is fertility and the cows getting pregnant, again is more influenced by feeding than any other factor. And therefore, achieving the right balance between energy, protein, and the fiber part of it is very, very important. It can't be overemphasized how important this is.
So, Mr. Kibler, in your opinion, what would be the level of importance of maize silage as an energy source in the diet of dairy cows?
Is the most efficient and effective source of energy in the diet of dairy cows. It comes in a very good combination with being a fiber source and very dense in energy compared with other feeds on the energy side supply. So I would rate it very highly.
And Mr. Kibler, what could you tell us about high quality sources of protein that could be included in the diet of dairy cows?
The two sources highest in the protein percentage would be lucerne or ryegrass. Lucerne is a legume grown perennially, harvested every 4 to 6 weeks, and it is a very high quality source of protein with fiber as well included. Ryegrass has got less fiber, but still fiber, and it's a very high temperate climate protein source. The difference is ryegrass has to be harvested every 3 weeks to maintain high quality, lucerne up to 4 to 6 weeks. And ryegrass can be grown as short rotation Italian ryegrass, which grows a lot of quality and quantity in a short time, like 6 months. It can also be done in perennial ryegrasses, but lucerne normally is a longer term crop which lasts for up to 4-5 years.
And what would you say is important when it comes to finding the right balance of protein and energy feeds in the diet of a dairy cow?
Well, getting the balance right is very, very important. And it depends also on the lactation stage of the cow. After calving, the cow produces most of the milk, and she's under most of the stresses just having given birth, increasing milk production on a daily basis, and therefore the energy needs and the protein needs for production have to be met within a diet, which is not always possible with high producing cows. But it has to be getting as close as possible, otherwise the cows will lose condition and it will be very difficult to get them pregnant again, which again in reproduction terms is very important to get them pregnant at the right time. So getting the right balance between energy and protein is extremely important. And at the end, there is some very simple and easy ways of assuring that. One is monitoring the dung, the consistency of the dung, the color, and also monitoring the conditions of the cow. So again, this is very important in terms of production, but also reproduction.
And what would you say is the role of fiber in the diet of dairy cows?
Fiber is very important. Without fiber and the right quantity and quality of fiber, cows will not be able to ruminate properly. Cows having 4 stomachs makes this very, very important. So it's the level of fiber in the ration in a feed ration, and also the quality of the fiber, which means it cannot be just any fiber. Part of it has to be what's called stringy fiber for the cows to be encouraged to ruminate and have this big washing machine, which their four stomachs are, work as well as possible to take all the nutrients out of the feed and convert it into milk production condition, and also help them to get pregnant again and grow their fetus into a calf. So fiber can't be overestimated its importance in the cow's diet.
And Mr. Kibler, what would be some of the other essential additions to the diet of high-performance dairy cows that are important to keep in mind?
Now there is a variation of different trace elements and minerals, which are all in small quantities, but very important to the healthiness and the performance of the cow. These trace elements and minerals cannot be grown on a farm. They have to be purchased either as individual parts or in a premix, where there is a premix already provided by suppliers to actually add to the feed mix. These minerals and trace elements have to be in the right quantities for especially the higher performing cows to make sure they get enough calcium, enough vitamins, all the other elements required to perform to their genetic potential.
And Mr. Kibler, I think finally we haven't touched upon the importance of the liquid intake when it comes to the diet of high-performance dairy cows.
Yeah, water is very important for cows to maximize their genetic potential in terms of production. Cows on average drink about 140 liters of water per day. And without water, they won't be able to produce the milk they're supposed to, their genetic potential. It is important to have water available ad lib at any time, and the water has to be the highest quality, similar to drinking water for us human beings. And if it's supplied, which is normally the case, through water troughs, the water troughs should not hold too much water. They should be cleaned regularly, ideally at least once, if not more than once per day, to ensure that the cows get the highest quality water for their needs.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kibler. That's very, very informative, and that would be a wrap on our first topic of feed and nutrition for high-performance dairy cows. Thank you very much, and we look forward to the next session.